Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, welcome to part 2 of the R2-D2 C-3PO box set. In part 1 I put together R2-D2 and got him attached to the base. Here in part 2 I'm going to put together C-3PO and attach him as well. So I'm not going to waste time with a big intro. Let's look at some tools and get to building.
Let's talk tools. I have a pretty standard set of tools that I use in most every build. I have needle nose pliers, I have flat nose pliers, I have flush clippers. These are a must for me. They clip parts off the sheets quickly and cleanly. I have a set of precision tweezers, one with a very pointed end, one with the pointed end ground down slightly, and a flat set with a sort of curved tip, useful for twisting tabs in slightly curved areas. I also have a pretty standard set of tweezers with a flat angled end. These come in one of the Iconics kits, and I use them a lot. When it comes to shape and rounded parts, there are many options. I used dowel rods for a long time. I sharpened the ends of 2 of them with a pencil sharpener. These 2 are great for making cone shapes. Another option is a cheap drill bit set. This set has quite a few different sizes to choose from. Another option is a set of step mandrels. Another option for rounding parts, especially larger parts, is sockets. Maybe you have some sitting around already, maybe you know someone that will loan you a few, or maybe just pick up a really cheap set. Ring pliers or round nose pliers can be found with jewelry making tools and work wonderfully for curving delicate and or hard to get to areas. Some sort of hook and pick set can be handy. I like this very small dental style pick. Sometimes you have to pull things out of areas too small for fingers. These Kelly clamps or hemostats, I've heard them called several names, can be used to hold on to small parts while guiding them into place. They lock, so they won't let go. I do not use them much because they have teeth and you can scratch the part, but sometimes my hands are just too small. Curved needle nose pliers to me are very useful for bending over longer, thin areas that have obstructions that keep regular needle nose pliers from getting to them and being helpful. They can also be handy in tight places.
I had a ridiculous amount of trouble putting the front of the face on. I did not have this much difficulty with the standalone C-3PO model, but for some reason this just didn't go well. It would have been better to start with the tabs on the top center first, but I just could not get them to go in to start with. I ended up spending 35 minutes fighting and working with the bends and tabs on C-3PO's face. If anyone is interested in the full video of putting 3PO's face on, I will add a link in the description to a full video for just that part. The back of the head went on a lot faster. I used a dowel rod and later a socket to keep the two pieces from folding inward while I lined up the tabs. I try to curve the section with the tabs on them before folding the side all the way over, so the tabs will almost fall into place on their own. I have found that using the needle nose pliers and pressing where seams meet in the rounded areas helps to flatten that area and make it more evenly curved overall. Pay attention to where and what the arrow is pointing at. Things may not line up later if you don't. One of the two pieces that go on the top of the thigh has two connection holes up top, the other has only one. Make sure you put them on the correct side. Putting the knees together has to be the most painful part of this build, so many tabs poking into my fingers. This video has been edited down. I've not shown all the different attempts, adjustments, or retries of this build. I also clip out parts where I am studying directions, searching for and clipping parts, and sometimes repetitive steps. It may make this kit look like it comes together easier than it did, but there are a lot of bending and adjusting of parts to make things fit. Work slowly, be patient, and take your time. There really is no way to effectively twist the tabs on this small part to secure it. I ended up coming back later, bending the tabs in opposite directions. I kept wanting to attach part 70 the wrong way. Sometimes things just do not want to go right. I forgot a lesson I had learned on the previous 3PO build, and that is the tabs inside the shoulder need to be bent over instead of twisted. The twisted tabs can get in the way of part 70 fitting properly.
As always, it helps to bend the tabs so that they are all pointing towards the next connection. It helps the tabs line up with their slots. I use the wood dowel rod to push over the tabs on the inner thigh area. There's not enough room to twist them. I pushed from the inside with the tweezers to push the tabs in or out as far as I could while pushing on the outside in, bending over the tabs with my fingernail. I had a very tough time seeing and twisting the tabs holding the head and neck on. Unfortunately, I could not get inside with any tools at this point, so to get the last tabs, pushing the tabs all the way in place was just not happening. I used the table to push over the longer sides on the base before I attached C-3PO.
All finished and complete. Now where do I start with this? I feel like I have a lot of things to say. They're the same size as the original R2 and C-3PO where they were built separately. They're the same size. They're pretty much the same parts, come together the same way. The numbers are different because they changed the order in which some of it comes together, but they're the same model. So if you've done the R2 and you've done the C-3PO by themselves, then this is nothing. It's just more colorful, and if you've already had a practice run. I will say, however, for some strange reason, I must have been having a bad day when I did C-3PO, because I didn't do them on the same day, and I had a lot more difficulty with some of the parts this time than last. Last time was very steady going. Everything came together. I took my time, and I was really proud of how it came together. This one doesn't look bad, but I know there was a lot of trouble in it. So that's just got to be one of those things where it's just good days and bad days, because they happen. Now the R2-D2 took about 2 hours, whereas putting together C-3PO took 4. So altogether, this is a 6-hour build. And one more interesting little fact. This, I counted very recently how many models I have built. Went back and made a whole spreadsheet so I could keep track. And I recounted. Turns out that the C-3PO R2-D2 box set is my 100th unique build. So that's kind of neat. Didn't really plan it that way, but that's how it worked out. I have made 100 unique models. I've made more than that, but I've made several of different ones. So, yay! I'm very thankful that none of the parts broke, because there were a few times I thought for sure something was going to break, but it didn't. Very pleased about that. I would have been very frustrated if I had to buy this model or this set of models a second time. I even considered at one point, I thought I was definitely going to break the face on C-3PO. Then maybe I'll just buy the cheaper C-3PO model and make that work. But I didn't. It didn't come to that. Once again, I'm all caught up on the Star Wars Middle Earth models. I have them all until something new comes out, which on one hand, I want them to take a break because I'm still playing catch up with everything else. On the other hand, I'm excited, especially if they come out with a Y-Wing. I wish they'd come and make the Y-Wing. It's a little intimidating how thin that metal is going to be, but it's a Y-Wing. There's never enough Y-Wings. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thank you for watching. If you haven't seen the first half, I'll put a link to part 1 in the description so you can see how to build R2-D2. Again, thank you for watching, and keep on keeping on.